So a big part of learning about a generation or about our students is talking about their characteristics. Often we hear generations' characteristics by what they enjoy. What are their prevailing attitudes? How do they view events or politics or so on? But a major, or I guess larger element, is also looking at their worldview. So Ben, what would you say in your experience and what you're seeing? What are some of the big ideas or the lies that are threatening the worldview of the students we have right in our classrooms today, those students we're leading? What are you seeing?
I love how you break that down, because if you want to be effective as a teacher, the best way to get to where you need to go is to ask the right questions.
Right.
And that, in my opinion, thank you for that, is a phenomenal question. What are some of the worldview deficits is a word I like to use. I love that term. But we could even go broad. What are the challenges? What are the lies? If I'm going to speak truth, what are the lies that the students I'm leading, what do they struggle with? And let me go a step further. I think I'd kind of like to put some of these in order, but I think when you hear these, you go like, these are the lies culture-wide that we're wrestling with. And certainly Gen Z and the alphas, the students that we're leading are really struggling to find the truth about these issues. And if you're an educator and you're going like, wow, I don't understand why my students think this way, or I do understand how they think, how do I help them? If you're asking those questions, you are asking phenomenal questions.
For sure. Absolutely.
The key is, what are those deficits? All right. So I don't want to ramble too much, but can I jump into those?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So if you think of like, I love watching these social media videos where they set up like dominoes or things, and then they like fall over and the whole thing like, they're so cool. Who would have thought those would be so entertaining? But that concept is a one that's real in the world, whether that be in physical things, you can line things up. But there also is true when it comes to spiritual challenges and untruth, that if you believe certain watershed untruths, they will affect a lot of other things. And so when we look at this, I believe the core challenge, if you go back and look at the millennials, Dr. Gene Twenge of San Diego State says the greatest challenge of the millennials is that the most narcissistic generation in the history of the world. And I'm a millennial, and I totally disagree. I think I am amazing and incredible, and I'm such an amazing person.
Thank you for your humility. Thank you.
So what I did years ago was I was studying millennials, and then I was like, well, if we look at some of these deficits, what is probably the central deficit of Gen Z? And then out of that, let's extrapolate some other things. And it was horrific a decade and a half ago when I discovered that probably the greatest challenge of Gen Z would be sexual identity and gender identity. And at the time, we're talking 2010, 2011, nobody believed me.
Right.
Like,
right.
well, that's crazy. This is like years before Obergefell was even passed by the Supreme Court, legalizing gay marriage. I mean, this is 2 years after President Obama said gay marriage should be illegal. This is crazy. Now we're like, yes. And so if you look at, and I don't have time to go into all the reasons why, but if you see one of the greatest struggles that Gen Z and the alphas are going to have is understanding their personal identity, whether that be sexual reality or others, then you have created a poor epistemology. And this is when we get into the dominoes of truth. So deficit number one is they don't know who they are, or they struggle to find who they are. So if you don't know who you are, at that point, you have eroded epistemology. Think for a second, if I can lie to a 5-year-old boy about his identity, I pretty much can lie to him about anything.
Right.
Because biology is so basic and fundamental to who we are. Like let's take sexuality out of it and just go, okay, you don't have any fingers on your hands. Well, his whole life, he's going to be going, well, what are these? And, you don't have any hair on your head. Okay, well, what is this stuff sticking out? Like, you're not a boy. Okay, well, but I am. And so what you've done is erode epistemology and said the way you find truth is some other way. And so now they don't have truth. And when you don't have identity, you don't have truth. And when you don't have truth, you don't have love. Now, this is really interesting because we see a lot of hate in our culture, and we think the answer to hate is unity. But the only way you find unity is through truth, not through agreement. That's compromise.
That's so right.
When
Yes.
you agree with people. The only way you find real unity is truth. And you cannot have love without truth because truth defines love. So, Jenny, you're not in studio here today, but if you were sitting next to me and I said, I just, as a Christian sister in the Lord, I want to show you how much I love you. And I punch you in the face. I would not, I almost shudder to give that example. When I do, it's always men, but there's that,
okay.
I'm like, to even think about doing that is so awful, but it's kind of funny at the same time.
Studio,
if I were a man, it would be more funny, I guess. But that's not how you show love, right? That would be awful if I did that. But then I said, oh no, you don't understand. That's how I express love. Well, what we have to understand is we have to know the truth about love to even have
Correct.
love.
Right.
And what we've been doing is we've been loving culture when really we've been showing hate to them, but culture terms that hate love.
Mm-hmm.
And truth allows love to flourish. Truth is what defines the parameters of love. So this is a generation that doesn't know who they are, so they don't know how to find the truth, so they don't know how to love. And when you don't know how to love, you don't know how to disagree. And so we've lost conversations about those who disagree. Because when a legitimate disagreement, I don't have a problem talking with atheists because I know at the end of the day, I want what is best for them. So I don't want to blow up or get angry. I want to know how to disagree with people because I really care about them. And so we don't know how to disagree. And because we don't know how to disagree, we don't know how to fail, which is why you have safe spaces on college campuses.
Yes.
We haven't allowed kids the space to go, you know what, it's okay. Failure is fine because there's redemption in Jesus Christ and he has a solution to failure. Failure is not final. And so they don't know how to fail. And so suicide is a huge issue.
Sure.
And then ultimately, we don't know how to live by an external creed. Everything in our culture is subjective.
Enjoyed this short clip? That was just a sneak peek into a full episode on the Teacher Edition podcast. We are passionate about supporting Christian educators like you. Looking for more inspiration and practical strategies you could use today? Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by BJU Press.